Don't know anything about Mike Baird?
No, and as a dyed-in-the-wool Liberal voter, that's enough for me to re-elect him, as the only thing I'm thinking when I drive past a billboard of him is...
Turns out there's even more of a reason to like him than that, as he helped the dream job conservatives in this country vicariously push onto their kids just as much as grotesque southern mothers push on their grotesque southern children the need to win beauty pageants.
He was a banker.
And yet you laugh at me on toddlers and tiaras? Honey, it's on lifestyle you for a reason. You're my soul conjoined twin.
Gross! No, I'm not. I vote for a completely different well, at least my candidate had to pull himself up from his own bootstrap. Okay, well, I vote for him for a completely different reason, because my candidate has business experience. Whatever, Mike Baird has slightly less keys.
And as every Liberal voter knows, someone with business experience is somehow absolutely for no logical reason whatsoever endowed magically with a full transfer of credits in government experience, as in their warped minds dictionary.
We all know that government is just a synonym for business. Useless archaic word dating back to September 2013. In fact, we're thinking of just merging the two and calling it...
Busyment.
Worked for us French, you have the same word for monkey and ape, it's a similar enough animal, just saves the brain space! Steady on, French Canada part of Liberal Party voter brains. I know it angers you that people think you're somehow uninformed about our political system just because you're confused by the definition of the word government. But that's why my team at Liberal Party New South Wales are working harder than ever to shape the facts of virtually everything around your insular little existence. Busy on your dollar.
And if there's one thing you can't accuse Mike Baird of, it's that he hasn't been busy. Who precisely around the time gas companies noticed that former Premier Barry O'Farrell was in possession of the cardinal sin in the Liberal Party of New South Wales, a conscience.
How do you sleep at night with one of those, Barry? I usually drown it out with the thought of crying koalas trapped in forests on fire due to my cuts to the fire service.
The Liberal Party's version of counting sheep, ostensibly sweating over the political ramifications of approving coal seam gas projects that use over 20 extremely toxic chemicals, including ones that cause cancer, injected straight into hundreds of billions of litres of water on prime agricultural land, rendering the very little amount of arable farmland we have on this continent unusable for the next 200 years.
Well, do you want the alternative? The state supply contracts are running out and we need to find replacement gas, as we only have nearly 2 centuries worth from existing, already tapped wells.
Better start squirreling away now, because in that same blink of an eye time frame that Captain Arthur Phillip has been dead for, Australia's little light on the fuel gauge will suggest we need to fill up the car.
It is in all honesty like the show 24, slowed down by a mere 73,048 times.
Mike Baird, the Australian version of Jack Bauer. In 17,531,152.
Got to fill up the tank. I don't want to leave future generations with that burden.
He's right. 201 years goes by like that. Seize the day, fellas. For the love of God, seize the day.
Well, 2 against 1, kiddies of the future. Captain Arthur Phillips made a captain's call. Gas is more important than water.
You can always drink Powerade. It's clinically proven to rehydrate faster than water.
Mountain Blast. From the past, sponsor Captain Arthur Phillip.
Check it, pussies! Better start stocking up now, because Mike Baird sees the sense in gas companies wanting to drill for gas on the tiny 4% of farmland that covers this continent, despite there being reserves already identified in an area the equivalent of 18 Great Britons in this country.
Which, even our most vocal critics like the Gate agrees we've made a fair compromise. See? Compromised agricultural lands by bringing the oven to food instead of food to the oven.
AGL, a fiery passion for making life easy.
Yep, sounds like you guys have this covered. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm late for my appearance on
Morality Quiz, the game show.
Well, question 1, Mr. Premier, is how much should farmer Ted Borowski, who was protesting the water on his property being seized against his will by gas giant Santos, be fined? $3,000. Sorry, it looks like there's going to be no family vacation for you this year, guys. You're all grounded. Okay, lock in 3,000. Good on you, Mike. Yeah, you got to be cruel to be kind, Eddie. And that exact same company, Santos again, proven to have poisoned a community's aquifer with uranium at 20 times higher than what is acceptable under safe drinking water guidelines. How much should they be charged? Mike Baird. I think that crime's literally half as bad as the not usually illegal activity of protesting, But still, let's give this $1.65 billion a year company a figure that'll make them sit up in their swivel chair, shall we? $1,500 for permanently contaminating an aqua bar. Okay, if we could just look at the scoreboard. And yes, you have made Mother Teresa throw up. Congratulations, Mr. Baird. You have the moral compass of someone who should definitely be in power. Good on ya.
I'm sure his God would agree with that.
Oh yeah, it's number 5 of the 10 Commandments. Honour thy fracker and thy miner. Well, when Labour was in power, they approved most of the coal seam gas licences that exist in the state today.
Oh, that's awesome. No point in explaining to you that just because of that year one logic that
Labor started it.
you're fully justified in continuing to vote for the Liberal Party, especially when New South Wales appears to be an entire state of people colourblind to green. To the major differences in party policy on this massive issue in which Labor opposition leader Luke Foley is calling for a statewide suspension on coal seam gas drilling until the industry is proven to be safe, while Mike Baird's position is the self-administered schoolhouse captain call and response chant,
Do we want coal seam gas? Absolutely we do!
Cool spirit. A statewide moratorium on coal seam gas drilling as opposed to cheering on gas companies to drill even more than they already have, which is becoming an almost impossible task, seeing as the Liberal Party of New South Wales has allowed coal seam gas wells to be drilled right next to this nation's largest city's water supply.
Drilling near my food doesn't affect me at all, but near my water, I'm still gonna vote for Mike Baird, but I've got to say, I'm disappointed.
9 coal seam gas wells approved by the Liberal Party of New South Wales that malfunctioned 3 times in January alone, in spitting distance from Sydney's Cataract Dam. And if the idea of your food and water being exposed to over 20 toxic chemicals and mountains of salt isn't enough to convince you that there's stark differences in policy at play,
That's right, I'm an old man. I probably ate a pile of salt 10 metres high and 11 kilometres long on one Sunday dinner. That's why I need so much salt. It keeps killing me taste buds. It's a vicious cycle.
it's now affecting house prices too.
No, my little hole I crawl out of every now and then to buy timers shaped like capsicums. How has he affected that?
By the drilling of hundreds of coal seam gas wells all over Sydney, with 100 more wells in Campbelltown and Liverpool on their way, thanks to Mike Baird.
A taste of farm life in the big smoke.
The Greens and Labor also opposed a loosening of coal seam gas rules even further than they currently are, which shows just how creative Mike Baird's government can be when even before the policy changes, gas companies could fill out their own environmental impact statements, meaning the company responsible for this used to be in charge of writing back to the government and saying,
Dear Mr. Baird, all is well here in Gloucester. There's a few nosebleeds from the chemicals. Throw that pipsqueak into the gas well. No!
And be sure to throw some uranium in there with him. Mutate the wretched boy into one giant nose as just desserts. That way, if anybody ever asks me what happened to him, I may simply reply, nobody knows.
thanks to the Baird government's toughest rules in the world, gas companies won't even have to make that token gesture and can proceed to drill without environmental impact statements, meaning there is now, under the Liberal Party of New South Wales jurisdiction, virtually nothing stopping coal seam gas companies from mining the Great Artesian Basin. The water source of almost a quarter of this country's people already being pumped by these wheezers with a corner office for half as much water out of the Great Artesian Basin as we know we can sustainably use. All but publicly encouraged by the Baird government to further one of the greatest crimes a government has ever committed in this country against its own people, fraternising with Santos over a coal seam gas proposal to mine the most important water source in the country that, if this project goes ahead, could be enough to stop bores flowing throughout the entire basin forever!
Good busy mint is timeless, busy mint.
The basin, which takes hundreds of thousands of years to be replenished, could very soon be permanently poisoned and stopped from flowing altogether, making it undrinkable, even without the carcinogens and toxic materials being dumped into it, which this Premier has made every indication he will, once this election is over, pass that proposal, and I'm sure his God would really approve of that.
Absolutely. Commandment number 6. Thou shalt not kill any mining application made to your government, no matter how fucking insane it is!
Insane? You think I'm insane? More salt water means more surfing.
Liberal Party of New South Wales voters, good on you for being dumber than a kindergartner, as even they're aware that you need shelter, food and water.
Please press the subscribe button now.
Come on.